So, what's my male to female ratio? My demographics, my gender demographics, I guess you would call it. Hang on, there, isn't that cooler? More cool. So, I guess I go back to the paleo days, which for me on freetheanimal.com, this was, from about 2008-ish to about 2013, a little bit dwindling down to 2015, where if I recall correctly, it was maybe 70-30, about 70% dudes to 30% chicks. Want to guess what it is now? Stay tuned. So I enjoyed that pretty much, and I think primarily because the women tend to be very involved in their health decisions, and of course diet stuff, and paleo was in a big part not just about eating well because of evolution and all that. It was also fixing stuff, and I don't know whether women just tend to be more aware of it or what, but so my blog had a lot of women who had problems, especially those who were overweight, and to their credit, they're like, hey, I got to fix this, but I have health issues too, right? So there was a lot of that, and fine. Then one day, it was my second time at Ancestral Health Symposium. What an enormous difference between the first one in 2011 at UCLA. They put something in the water, the paleo water, between 2011 and 2012 at Harvard. What a difference. So by 2012, paleo was getting woke with feminism and all sorts of stuff. I had lashed out at some stupid post about some sort of entitled female who was working there or something, and then a former friend, Melissa McEwen, if any of you around still remember her, started a blog, a Tumblr blog, which, if you remember Tumblr, some young dude made it, somebody paid, and it was pretty cool actually, and then somebody bought it for like $1 billion or more, and promptly ran it into the ground by eliminating all the stuff that made it successful in the first place. So anyway, that's a different story. But now suddenly I'm a misogynist and so on. And of course, it did, to Melissa's credit, who's now, I remember her in the day when she was updating her Twitter profile every other day to appeal to men, and saying stuff like she was definitely looking for a boyfriend. Well, I guess she got jilted in some way or another, because that's complete. She's now like a cat girl with butch hair and everything. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I hope she sees this. Send it to her. You've seen those before and after of all these beautiful young girls who suddenly decide that men are all the problems in the world, and as they do stuff from their phone in the comfort of their house, and all of the things that men invented and built. Bite the hand that feeds you, right? So yeah, it's changed dramatically. I just heard through the grapevine that the great Keith Norris of Paleo FX fame has has split up with his wife Michelle. I wish both of them well. They're both friends of mine. But the only time I attended Paleo FX it was 2016, and I was like, I should go to this thing once. That's the last paleo-like thing I've ever attended. I'm not going to get into it. Keith and Michelle built that to quite a deal, and I do things differently, but I'm not going to criticize. They brought a lot of people together, and so on. But one thing I will mention is that you could see the cancer seed of feminism back then. So 16, so that's 4, 5, 6 years ago now, right? And it's lagged behind the societal trend, but it's definitely there. Okay, so my demographics have changed substantially. So before I started doing these YouTube videos, I'll have to go back and look at the blog demographics and put it in the description. I should have done that before, but I've been paying attention to YouTube, and before I started these videos, and I've done like 60 of them in the last 10 weeks, right? To build up the channel, get it monetized, all that stuff. So I was at 92 men to 8 females per 100. So since I've been doing that, you know what it is now? 98 to 2. So out of 100 watchers of the video, 2 of them are women. And what do you want to bet they understand men? Because I do a lot of men shit. So how do you think, how do I take that? I'm like, well, it looks like it's shaping up to be, my sort of misanthropic view, which before COVID, I've said that my misanthropy prior to COVID was targeted and targeted and focused, I think is the terms I use, and COVID made it generalized and blurry. So it's like that figure mirrors what I see in general society, and who were really the cheerleaders for all of the morass of evil that was COVID. Women, yeah, women, and men who act like women and virtue signal around women, because I don't really fucking know why. So what this makes me do is the exact opposite of intentions. I'm going to just keep doing what I do, if not more, in terms of embracing a more patriarchal society. I'm not talking about, enslaving or beating up women, but, you have to understand, there's all this like, well, what do women need? What do women need? And even the Simpson cucks out there, they're the same way. Well, you know what a man says? A man says, you know what? Women have legitimate needs in a relationship with a man. A man has legitimate needs in a relationship with a woman. It is imperative that men try to understand those intrinsic needs. You can't change them. They're there, right? It's part of what makes them women, right? By the same token, women need to do their best to understand what are the intrinsic needs of men. And I tell you what, the whole world practically is very, very deficient in that. It's not only deficient, but it's 180 degrees out. It's like either men don't have needs or fuck their needs. We'll do what we want. Well, fuck you, right? The 98 of you out of 100, there is awfulness out there, right? There's awfulness on both sides, but and the awful, I think, is I don't really believe that it is unfixable. I think there's a certain percentage of both men and women who are just being awful because it's in style. So really what their problem is, they're weak, right? And they can fix that. I hope that society is getting to a point where they're saying enough of this shit. Men and women are different. They have needs. Men need to understand the legitimate needs of women. Women need to understand the legitimate needs of men and seek to fulfill them. One of the best things you can say to a woman when it's just not working out for you is you just say, you are not even coming close to meeting my needs. You do not meet my needs, right? That's what I said to Yui, the Thai girlfriend, when I left. And I'm not talking about sex. Sex was fine, right? There was other things, right? Like just being sweet instead of like just a sourpuss nagger all the time. Ugh, God, get as far away from that shit as you can, right? And a bunch of other things. But you know what you're doing, so just go there, do it. And men, you need to. You don't need to increase the volume, but you need to have volume. You need to have some volume there, and you need to understand what your own needs are, and really test for that and look for that early on in a relationship. And there's many clues out there about whether she's really into you or not. Okay, I'll give you one example in parting. Like, say you propose something. Say you've gone out with her once or twice. You've already gone out for her. You propose something else, and it's fine. Sometimes people are tied up. They have previous commitments or whatever. But a woman who wants to see you, enjoys being with you, wants to pursue this, will, after they say, well, I really have to do this and this and this, and tough to change it, whatever. But okay, let's do it this day or this time or whatever. They propose an alternative. If they do not propose an alternative, don't contact them again. Simple as that. Boom. It's one strike, you're out. One strike, you're out. You don't have time to waste. And never, ever chase a woman. Ever. Okay, that's it.